So you finally finished one painting. It's been a few years, but you finally did it. And now you need to varnish it and you don't know how. So how do you do it? Well, I'm going to show you the best way, at least what I think is the best way to do it. I've seen many people on Instagram over the years doing it, and I think they're all doing it wrong. I developed my own method. Let's get into it. All right, so to start with, let's go into what I have in front of me. I have the painting. It's on a panel, canvas panel, oil painting. It could be acrylic, it doesn't matter. You can still use Gamvar. That's what I'm using, Gamvar Varnish by Gamblin. And mine is, the bottle says gloss, but it is 50% gloss, 50% satin. That's the kind of mixture that I like, that I've found. So it's not too glossy, but it also brings out the dark areas, doesn't keep it flat. And this, what I have here is basically just Gamsol. It's actually a retouch varnish mixture that I made, which is 4 parts Gamsol, 1 part varnish. But I use that as my Gamsol because I don't have any currently right now. So the secret thing that I use is an eyedropper. And this one in particular is a cheap plastic one, but I also use glass ones, little eyedroppers you can get. They're very cheap, you can find them on Amazon. I will link them down below in the description. If you click that link and purchase anything through that link, that's a way you can support my channel with no additional cost to you, so definitely check out the links. Most people, I've been watching people for years on Instagram varnish their painting, and they start by going like this and pouring a big pile onto their painting. I don't do that because it ends up you get varnish on the edge of the bottle becomes messy, and you don't control how much varnish is on your painting, and that's very important because if you put too much, it's gonna remain sticky. You're gonna have a sticky varnish. You don't want that because that attracts a bunch of hair, and it's not what you want to go for. So I use the eyedropper, and I also have a little bristle brush here that I'm going to use very lightly on the painting to spread it around. So I use the eyedropper, keeps everything very clean, keeps the bottle clean. Now I can drop very sparingly varnish. I go around the edge and I work my way toward the middle. So what I end up doing, I start out with less than I need. I try to think of this as, a funny way I think of it as, is like getting a haircut. You can always cut off more, but once you cut off too much, you can't put it back on. So now I spread this around and I work my way out to the edges, and you kind of have to go look at it at a certain angle. Sometimes you have to pick it up and look at it, have the light hit it at a certain angle so you can see where the varnish is covering and where it isn't. And I'm touching with the brush very, very lightly. So let me see if I can, there you go. You guys can see that? It's a little bit wet in some areas. So I'm just looking at it at certain angles toward the light. And I'm trying to as thinly as I can, cover the painting. So right now I'm using only varnish out of the varnish tube, the varnish bottle. And what you can do, sometimes you'll have trouble with it beading up or not spreading enough, or you just feel that there's too much varnish. And what I've read online from many different forums, I've spent many hours reading up on this, is you can add up to between 10 to 20% Gamsol. And that kind of cuts the varnish a little bit, and I'm going to do that now. And it just helps the varnish spread around a little bit more, and it also helps it kind of penetrate the surface of the painting a bit. You know, I'm not a scientist, I'm not really sure how it works, but I just know that it does work. I've read emails from people like Gamblin helping people with varnishing problems, And that's the way to go. That's the way I do it. And like I said, you can use a retouch varnish, and the reason to use that is if you need the varnish to dry very quickly, and you need to get it to a show or something, you use 4 parts Gamsol, 1 part varnish. You can use 3 parts Gamsol, 1 part varnish. You know, you can make your own version of it. So you basically go around, spread this very, very thinly. You want it to be a very thin coating across the entire surface. I'm just making sure I cover everywhere. I gotta look at it at a certain angle to the light. Trying to make sure I get the bottom there. And now we can kind of tilt it in different ways. So that's the way to do it, and you don't have to clean the brush. You can leave it just like that, and then the next time you go to varnish, you can use the same brush. But you can just clean it with Gamsol and some soap, whatever, however you want to clean the brush is up to you. And I'm just going to finish up varnishing this painting, and I will show you a close-up here in a second. So that's the finished painting varnished, and that's how you do it. Very simple, very clean, minimal cleanup, and just the right amount of varnish on the painting, and easily controlled the amount on the painting surface. That's the way to go. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that video. The little bottle of varnish should last you a very long time, a lot of paintings, and I hope you find it useful. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to check out the links in the description to find out how you can further support this channel. I'd appreciate it. Keep on painting and drawing. Don't get discouraged. Take care of yourself. Peace, my friend.